Hello, and welcome to Pokemon Black. This is a hardcore Nuzlocke, which means if a Pokemon faints, it is considered dead. We must catch the first Pokemon we encounter on every route. We have to nickname every Pokemon. There will be a theme. We can't use items in battle. We must always put on set mode. And we will be playing with level caps, which will be based on the next major fight's Ace's level. And they'll be on the screen. It'll be between these 6 Pokeballs that I had designed. Anyway, we name ourselves Kian, and we are going to dive straight on in to the Unova region. So, we are in our house, and we are given the choice of 3 starters. And obviously we go with my favourite, Tepig. Got to pick the fire starter in the first 1 to 5 generations. Or at least I do. First 5 gen, fire start all the way. Anyway, then we dive straight into battle. We face off against Bianca first, who I believe has Snivy. Yes, Bianca has her Snivy. We send out Tepig. And we basically just exchange tackles for a few minutes. Just tackle, 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 tackle. Oh, but she switches up with a Leah. We just keep going for tackle. And Snivy faints. First battle dub. Then we fight Sharon, who has Oshawott. And you guessed it. It's gonna be more tackle. Yeah. We're just gonna keep tackling. Tackle. Followed by a tackle. Followed by another tackle. And then another tackle. But we do win. And we move on. We meet up with the Professor. Professor Juniper. Who gave us our starter. And we nickname our Tepig Dante. After a quick catching tutorial, we head over to Route 1, where we capture a Patrat, who we nickname Caliban. Over at the town that I don't remember the name of, we have our first encounter with N, who sends out a Purloin. We send out Dante. Dante crit tackles, and then we just hit it with 2 more Embers. And that's how we beat N for the first time. I know, very big fight. Route 2, we catch a Lillipup, who we name Locke. At the end of Route 2, we face off against Bianca. She has a Lillipup who we set on fire and then we tackle. And she sends out Snivy, who we kind of just burn with embers. Yeah, Bianca is not going to be a challenge this run. Anyway, over by the Dream Yard, we get a Pansage, who we nickname Kipperin. And then we face Sharon in the school. We switch out to Kipperin, who Vine Whips his Oshawott into the ground. And he sends out Purloin, and we just keep going for it. We just keep Vine Whipping that Purloin into the ground. And just like that, we win against Sharon, and we are on to our first gym. In the Threatened City gym, we face off against the Water-type trainer, Krat. Although if you can call him a Water-type trainer, he has 2 Pokemon and one of them isn't the Water-type. So we send in Dante, who against his Lillipup, and we hit Ember, which crits, burns the Lillipup, and takes out in 1 shot. Then he sends in his Pampot, and we switch out to Kipperin. And we go for Vine Whip. While he tries to work up, and we just Vine Whip. 1, 2. Oh, he actually went for a water gun. Wow. Surprising. Anyway, he heals, and we just keep going for Vine Whip. A lot of fights in this game do end up me just spamming the same move over and over again until I claim my victory, but you know what, it's fine, we win. Anyway, outside of Stratton City, we face off against Sharon again, because of course Black and White is going for your rival battles. You never stop fighting the rivals. He sends in Oshawott and Purloin, and we send in Kipperin, and Kipperin just vine whips his entire team into the ground. On Route 3 we catch a Blitzel, who we nickname Diana. In the cave next to Route 3, I don't actually know its name, we catch a Woobat. Catch a Woobat and we nickname it Luna. Then in the outskirts of Pinwheel Forest we come across a Timpole. We like it a few times with Kipperin and then throw a Great Ball at it and catch it, nicknaming it Garyon. As we try to head into the Nacrene City Gym, we are once again faced with N, who, rather like before, is not a challenge. We have Diane, and Diane just shockwaves. Basically through his entire team. Yeah. You see, it's really hard to commentate on fights like this when Diane just demolishes them. But inside we face off against Lenora. He starts out with Herdia and we do the exact same, hitting it with a Rock Smash, followed by a Tackle, Rock Smash, and then we switch out into Caliban, who has now evolved into a Watchog. We fire off a couple of crunches, and she sends in her Watchog. We hit Detect to block what I thought was going to be a Retaliate. He hits us with a Hypnosis after we hit him with a Sand Attack. There's the Retaliate. We switch out into Dante, who gets put to sleep. But Dante wakes up pretty quickly, hits 3 times with Arm Thrust and gets us a bag. In Pinwheel Forest Interior, we encounter a Sawaddle, who we catch on our very first try, and we are going to nickname her Zalia. Outside on Route 4 we catch a Sandile, who we nickname Den. Then we go into the, I don't know, big city. We go in there and we face off against Berg. We start the fight with Luna, who air cutters through his Whirlipede quite easily. Luna carried us through the entire gym. We are slightly under-leveled for this gym, as you can see. Doesn't bring everyone up to the level cap. But we do face off against his Dwebble, hitting it a few times with a Sand Attack, lowering the accuracy before switching out into Dante. Dante hits it with some Flame Charges, but then gets hit by a Sand Attack of its own, and so we kind of just exchange misses for a little bit, until we do eventually manage to take down the Dwebble with a couple of Flame Charges. Then he sends in his Weavani, we miss, but then our second Flame Charge hits, and we take our victory. On the gate to Route 4, we face off against Bianca. Start off with Luna again, who takes out her Herdia. We switch into Diana, who takes out her Panpour in a couple of hits. Then for her Muna, we switch into Caliban, who crunches straight through it, and he chops down her Servine with Cut. Now Sharon. Sharon has a P-Dub. I hate this P-Dub with my entire being. As you can see, Luna valiantly fights against this P-Dub, bringing it solo every time, but just missing out on the kill. He parts something, and we unfortunately do lose Luna to the P-Dub. P-Dub does go down to the desert sand, and he brings out his Liepard, who we take out with Caliban. Then he brings in Dewart. We don't really have anything that can tank a hit, and so we bring in Diane. Diane gets one shot, so we bring in Zalia. He focuses energy, and Zalia barely survives, but does kill the Dewart. And then he brings out Pansia, and we bring in Dante, who arm thrusts the Pansia a few times, and we win against Sharon. After that bloodbath of a battle against Sharon, we come across a Sigilith in the Desert Resort, which we throw Ultra Ball at, we miss. we don't miss, we fail to capture it. Then we capture it again, Sigil with the Avianoid Pokemon, Psychic Flying, to replace the Luna. And we nickname that one Nimue. Inside of the Relic Castle, we come across a Yarmask who we throw an Ultra Ball at, and we call her Sorcerel. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I think that's how you say it, Sorcerel. Anyway, we go to the Ferris wheel and we face off against N. He starts out with a Sandown, gets taken out by Dante. Then he brings in his Sigilif and we bring out Locke, through Crunches, and there's about half health, but we have to switch out to Caliban so we don't lose Locke. And Caliban crunches and takes out the Sigilif, then he brings out his Scraggy. We bring out Zalia, then we switch into Dante after doing a little bit of damage. Arm Thrust takes Scraggy out easily, leaving just Darumaka, who we knock out with a couple of rollouts. After him, we face off against Elisa? I don't know. Anyway, she has some annoying Emolgas who Volt Switch around. So we bring in Herdia, take out the first one, then we bring out Garyon, who can tank a few hits. Brings this second Emolga down low as she heals up. Then we bring out Caliban, who crits the Zeb Striker. Couple crunches later, and the Zeb Striker falls. He brings out Emolga once again. We switch out into Den, our Sandal, who has joined the team. We have to quickly check Assurance and Bite, because I don't know the damage between them. Learn that Assurance does more. A few Assurances later, and we take out Emolga, get the badge. En route 16, we capture Gothita, who we are going to nickname Sophie. On the forest next to Route 16, we catch a Cottony, who we nickname Strix. Then we face off against Sharon again. We are obviously a bit nervous facing off against him once more after the death of Diana and Luna. But thankfully we seem to have it covered. Dante takes out his Lipod, Zalia takes out his Duo, giving him no time to claim any lives. Then he brings out Pansear and we send in Garyon. Garyon takes out a couple of Bubble Beams. And he brings out Tranquil. And Garyon cleans up. On Route 5, we catch and we'll face off and catch with a Minccino, which we nicknamed Springer. On the bridge, we catch a Ducklet. After multiple Pokeballs, we catch a Ducklet and name it Soling. Over on Route 6, we find and capture a Carablast, who we are going to nickname Freelancer. And then by the cold storage, we are going to catch a Vanillite, who we nickname Dendrous. And we face off against Clay. Garyon brings down Krokorok really low, and we switch out into Den to bring his attack down. We throw a Sand attack, and then we switch into Locke, who begins to work up. Now, I was worried about Clay because Clay is a kind of a scary man. Thankfully, Locke is able to basically one-shot everything after getting to a +5 attack. Then we face off against Bianca as we are leaving Driftveil City. Take out Herdia with Garyon. She brings in Servine, who gets kind of demolished by Nimue. She brings in Panpour. We hit Panpour a few times. Then she brings out Luciana. We take her out with Nimue. Over in Charleston Cave, we come across a Joltik, who we catch, and we nickname him Arachnos. And we face off against N once more. Like I said before, N is not exactly someone we worry about facing at this stage in the game. We take out Boldor with Garyon, and then Dante basically just flame charges through the rest of his team. We catch a dealing and we nickname it Fionn. And then we enter the tower that I totally blanked the name of. And we encounter a Litwick, which we capture with an Ultra Ball. And we nickname Solar. Now, we take a few more steps and we come across a shiny Litwick. And I'm running on the clause of if it was my encounter, but I got a shiny version, I can just swap them out. So basically, we nickname this Litwick Solar, and then we go and face Skylar. We send out Dendrus against Boobat, who uses Amnesia. We use an Ice Beam. And then an Icy Wind, as she heals up. Dendrus crits, because Dendrus is awesome. Dendrus and Ice Beams her Unpheasant down, and then Ice Beams straight through her Swanna. Basically, that was the Dendrus show. Then we face off against Sharon once again. We still haven't forgiven him for Luna and Diana, and so we kind of pair through his team. Garyon kills Simisear. Nimue comes out and aircutters through his Duo, because he keeps going for revenge for some reason, and Nimue enjoys destroying him. He brings out Lipod and we bring out Dante. And Dante obviously just arm thrusts straight through Lipod's entire health bar. Over on Route 18 we catch a Frillish, who we are gonna catch eventually. Frillish is not exactly a fun one to catch, but we catch the Frillish and we call it Tau. Over in the mountain we catch Girder, eventually again. We're at the point in the game where captures take a little while now. And the Girder almost kills Garyon, but Nimue comes in. And we finally catch the Girder and we name him Behemoth. We enter the Bryson Gym, also known as Behemoth. Behemoth hits the bulk up, and then proceeds to, I think we just wake up slap through the entire team. 2 for Vanillish, 1 for Beartick, and a final one for Cryogonal. Over at Dragon Spiral Tower we catch a Golett, who we nickname Metagolem. N has a really cool cutscene where he summons Zekrom at the top of the tower. Please enjoy. He basically goes, come fight me at the league. Even though somehow he has 8 badges and we have 7. Anyway, on one of the routes we catch a Shelmet. I think it's Route 9. I'm really bad at remembering the route order in Unova. Anyway, we catch the Shelmet and we nickname them Sabrio. Then we face off against Bianca on our way to Opaloosa City. Dante tears through her Stoutland. We switch out to Locke, who Thunderfang straight through Simipour's health bar. He brings out Superior, we bring out Dante, and despite the rain, we do basically just demolish Superior with a bunch of fire attacks. Then she brings out Luciana, we switch out into Zalia, and Zalia hits it with an X-Scissor twice, and Luciana falls, and does Bianca. On Route 10 we catch a Pawniard, who evolves at a ridiculously late level because welcome to Unova. And we are going to nickname Pawniard Scarlet. After catching Scarlet, we head over to Opaloosa City where we face off against Drayden. We start by taking out his Fracture with a couple of air slashes from Nimue. He brings out his Bruddigan and we hit it with an air slash, which flinches. We then switch out into Dante. Dante tanks a Night Slash and hits Bruddigan with a Flame Charge, followed by a Flamethrower. We fire a second flamethrower as Dragon gets healed up. A third flamethrower brings it into yellow as we get Dragon tailed out. We bring in Nimue, set up a tailwind as he heals once more. And then Nimue proceeds to air slash his Rudigan out of existence. He brings out his Haxorus, we hit it with an air slash. As he sets up a terrifying Dragon Dance, our tailwind runs out as we switch into Lock. Lock avoids an attack and hits it with a return. Haxorus continues to be greedy, sets up Dragon Dance, and we take out Drayden. En route, on a 10, we encounter a Vullaby. Who we throw a quick ball at, catching it very quickly. And we nickname Vullaby Umbra. Then we face off against Charity and we are still holding a grudge. We bring out Dendrus, who hits some Pheasant with an Ice Beam, taking the bird out of the game. He brings out Simisear, we switch into Garyon. Garyon hits Simisear with a Muddy Water, bring it low, and then we fire off a Surf, finishing off Simisear. He brings out his Samurott, we switch out into Lock. Lock fires a Thunder Fang, gets the Paralysis on Samurott. And then we switch into Zalia. Samurott is paralyzed, can't move. And Zalia fires a single Leaf Blade, taking out Samurott. Finally, Sharon brings in his Liepard, who we hit with a Bug Bite to steal with Citrus Berry. And then we X's a Liepard out of the game. Finally, in Victory Road, we encounter a Dino, we throw a Quick Ball at, fail to capture it with the Quick Ball, so we hit it with a Bulldoze. And we throw a Great Ball at it because we're all of Ultra Balls at this point, throw a Dust Ball at it, and we finally catch Dino, who we nickname Dragon. Now, we are in the Elite Four facing off against Caitlyn. She starts off with Reuniclus, we start off with Zalia. Zalia goes for a Sword Stance, making sure that we can get that KO. Reuniclus does a Psychic, which does a lot more damage than I expected it to, but Zalia hits an Exeter, taking Reuniclus out of the game. She brings out her Sigilith, and we switch out from Zalia into Den. Den obviously doesn't take damage from Psychic and hits Sigilith with a Crunch after barely surviving an Ice Beam, but then does hit the Crunch against Sigilith and takes it out. Caitlyn brings in Mushana, we hit it with a Crunch. Mushana survives, but fires off a Shadow Ball, which doesn't kill Den. So we hit it with another Crunch, and with the defense drop that we got, it doesn't matter that Caitlyn heals, Mushana falls. Finally, Caitlyn brings in her Gothitelle, and we hit it with a Crunch, taking it down straight into the red. She Calm Minds, we hit her with another Crunch as she full restores. And finally we Crunch again, because she has no more heals and Gothitelle is down. Next up we face off against Chantel, the Ghost type Elite Four member, and we start off with Den. Proxy Intimidate and hits off Egregious with a Crunch. Barely survives, but we dodge the Will-O-Wisp. She heals up Cofagrigus, we hit it with another Crunch. She wastes both her heals on the Cofagrigus, and we just crunch him right out of existence. Chantel brings in her Jellicent, and we go straight for the Crunch, which takes Jellicent straight out of the game. Jellicent is down, and Chantel obviously brings in her Golurk, who then hits with another Crunch. Golurk goes down in a single hit, just leaving Chantel's signature ace, her Chandelure. We tanks a fire blast, bringing Den down, straight into the yellow. Den fires off a crunch, leaving Chandelier on a sliver, but we get burnt, and so we have to switch out from Den. Reaching in lock, avoids the fire blast, takes a second fire blast to the chin, lands on yellow, and crunches Chandelier out of the game. 2 down, 2 to go. Next, we face off against Grimsley, and this is surprisingly going to be a very easy fight. We start off with Nimue, who air slashes Scrafty, gets hit by a sand attack. Nimue sets up a tailwind, survives a crunch in the yellow, and then takes out Scrafty with an air slash. He brings in his Crocodile, and we switch out into Lock. Lock tanks a crunch, hits Crocodile with a retire, bring it down to half health. But we don't know how we fare, so we switch out into Zalia, predicting another earthquake, but instead we get hit by a foul play. But it's fine because we survived 2 of those and we hit Crocodile with an Exeter, taking it out. He brings out his Liepard, and we have had plenty of experience dealing with those after Charon's, and so we know that it has aerial ace. But it doesn't go for it, it goes for Night Slash instead. Cross switch to Dangerous was not worth it. We switch from Dangerous into Dante as we take another Night Slash. Thankfully it doesn't crit, and so we just go for Flame Charge. Unfortunately, Dante is immobilized by Love as Liepard begins the aerial ace straight through his health bar. Fortunately, Dante gets his act together, hits through with a Flame Charge, and we risk it. Second hit with Brick Break. Finally, Grimsley brings out his Bishop, which dies in a single hit to a Brick Break, just leaving Marshall. We start off the fight against Marshall with Nimue. We go for the Psychic into his throw. His throw survives, but he then goes for Stone Edge. Nimue clutches up. Marshall heals up his throw, and we go for a Psychic again. That's the special defense drop we got. Throw goes down. Marshall brings in his Sork, and we switch out into Dante. Dante tanks a Stone Edge twice in a row, fires off a Flame Charge, doing decent damage to Sork. Fire off 2 of those, taking Sork out of the game. Marshall brings out his Conkeldurr, which we hit with a Flamethrower, getting the Oko, leaving him with just 1 Pokemon, his Mienshao. Thankfully, due to our Flame Charges, we outspeed, and a Flamethrower takes Mienshao out. And we are ready to fight the champion, except it's not the champion because N has already beaten him. We watch as N's castle erupts from the ground around the Pokemon League, and we think back on our fallen friends Diana and Luna as we prepare for the most grueling pair of fights this game has to offer. Castle rises, we walk in. We are challenged by Team Plasma N. He sends out his Zekrom, and we bring out Garyon. Garyon hits the Zekrom with a Bulldoze as it sets up a light screen. We lower its speed, hit the second Bulldoze. Zekrom is in the red. Zekrom goes for Giga Impact, and we go for a bad Bulldoze, taking Zekrom out. He brings out his Kling Clang. We go for a Bulldoze, he goes for Hyper Beam, and Garyon clutches up on 1 HP, and we can take out his Kling Clang with 2 Bulldozes. He brings out his Vanilluxe, and we switch into Dante. Dante, who voids a Blizzard. He sets up Hail, which is very important for us, and we go straight for the Flamethrower, taking out his Vanilla. Garion grows to level 53 and learns Hydro Pump, which takes place of Muddy Water. And he sends in his Caracosta. We expect to get hit by a waterfall, so we switch in Zalia. We do, we tank it. Thanks to Hail breaking Caracosta sturdy, we can take it out with a single Leaf Blade. He brings out his Zoroark, which we know is going to go for Flamethrower, so we switch into Dante, who tanks the Flamethrower. As Zoroark is buffeted by Hail. He hits us with a powerful Focus Blast, bringing us into the red. But our Brick Break does take Zoroark out of the game. Finally, he brings out his Archeops, the monster that I am most afraid of on his entire team. We bring out Den, which get the Intimidate, dodge the Stone Edge, and we fire off Sand Attack as he goes for Acrobatics. We fire off a second Sand Attack, hoping to get some misses, as we switch out from Den, who is in the red. We bring out Locke, tanks an Acrobatic, fires off a Return, doing a little bit of damage but not enough to kill Archeops. We switch in Dendrus, prepared for a Stone Edge, but Dendrus dodges, and so Dendrus just has to tank one. Dendrus fires off an Ice Beam and takes Archeops out, officially beating N. Fortunately, the fight doesn't end there, as Ghetsis wants to go. We bring out Garion against his Coppergregus. We fire off a Surf as he goes for Toxic. We switch out from Garion into Den, activating our Intimidate and crunching Coppergregus. Coppergregus unfortunately survived on a Sliver, but we did get the defense drop. Gets to choose a full restore as we fire off another crunch, and we take out Coppergregus. He brings in his Hydreigon, and we switch into Zalia, affecting a Surf. Instead we take a Focus Blast. Obviously we know he's going to go for a Fire move next, so we switch out from Zalia into Garion, who takes the Fire Blast. Hydreigon fires off a Dragon Pulse, we fire off a Drain Punch. It's not looking good, so we have to give up Garion's life. We bring out Dante against the Hydreigon, knowing it has Surf, hoping Dante can tank one Surf, which he can. He goes for a Brick Break, takes out the Hydreigon. He brings in his Bouffalon. I don't know if we outspeed, but I risk it, go for the Brick Break. Unfortunately, it doesn't get the kill, as Bouffalon wild charges and takes out Dante. Bouffalon is low, so we bring out Locke, who hits a Return, taking out the Bouffalon. He brings in his Seismitoad, which we hit with a Return, bring it to about half health. He hits us with an Earthquake twice as we bring down his Seismitoad with Locke. He brings out Bishop, and without Dante this is looking dire. So we have to sacrifice Locke in order to get a free switch of Den to bring Den onto the field. Den hits Bishop with a Bulldoze, but it doesn't get the kill, as Bishop goes for Metal Burst. Thankfully we take it out with a second, and he brings in his Electros. Den fires off a Crunch, but Electros survives with quite a lot of health and takes out Den. Things are looking bad. We bring out Dendrus, and Dendrus outspeeds Electros, taking it out with 2 Ice Beams, because for some reason Electros didn't go for Flamethrower. And we have beaten Team Plasma's Ghetsis, and the run? We beat Ghetsis with 6 deaths. Dendrus and Zalia are our last men standing. Last man and last woman, I should say, because Zalia is a woman. Alna and Ghetsis have a shouting match, as N makes his decision not to release all the Pokemon. However, our run does not end here, because there is one more battle that I wish to attempt. We talk to N about Accumula Town, about all our memories along the journey. As we slowly approach Popular Room, he hops on his Zekrom, he flies away. We go to Mr. Alton Cave, catch an Axew, which we are going to nickname Overloss. And then in Challenger's Cave we catch a Graveler, who we nickname Harlequin. And we make our way over to Undella Town. Here, we make our final stand against the one and only Cynthia. The final fight of our Pokemon Black Nuzlocke. Either we win, or our run ends here. Cynthia starts off with her Spiritomb, we start off with Harlequin, setting up a Stealth Rocks. Her Spiritomb goes for a double team. I can already see how this is going to go, so we hit it with an Earthquake while we have the chance. He fires off a Shadow Ball, bringing Harlequin down into the yellow. Oh, we consider switching out into Pendragon, but we keep going for the Earthquake, taking out Spiritomb. She brings out Milotic, who we know is going to go for a Hydro Pump. So we switch into Zalia, who can easily tank one of those. Zalia goes for a Sword Stance, just as she did against Caitlyn. Milotic goes for a Bulldoze, trying to get the speed advantage. She gets it, but we avoid the Blizzard, and we take out Milotic with a single Leaf Blade, getting the crit hit. Cynthia next out brings out Braviary next, and we have to make a choice. Who do we bring in? We bring in Harlequin. Harlequin, who was chosen to beat Braviary, but unfortunately cannot survive a critical hit Brave Bird. So we bring in now Dendros, who we know is fast, but not fast enough as it tanks a Brave Bird in the red, taking out Braviary with an Ice Beam. He brings in a Lucario, we predict an Aura Sphere, and so we switch over to Solar, the shiny Chandelure, who gets hit by an Extreme Speed but obviously doesn't take any damage. Lucario fires off a Dragon Pulse, and we fight back with a Flamethrower, taking Lucario out. Dendros levels up as Cynthia brings in her Garchomp, and we have to sacrifice someone here. No one on the team can take a hit. But we might get a chance if she goes for Earthquake. So we switch into Pendragon, who has Levitate and would not take damage from an Earthquake. She misses the Stone Edge, and we have a little bit of hope, but she hits Pendragon with a Dragon Rush, he goes. We bring out Dendros, hoping above all that we can outspeed this monster, and we don't, but we avoid the attack, and Dendros takes out Garchomp with an Icy Wind. Cynthia is down to just her Electros, and as we switch over to Overloss, we switch into Solar first, take the Flamethrower, we bait Electros into the Crunch. And as we switch to over to Overloss to take it out, I'd just like to say a massive thank you to everyone who stuck around to watch this. I know it's not the usual type of content we do on this channel, but I do hope you have enjoyed. Overloss hits the Earthquake, takes out the Electros, and just like that, we have officially won our Pokemon Black Nuzlocke. Thanks for watching.